Hello, sixth graders. This is Mr. Shear, and today we're looking at a shortcut. We're still talking about percents, and this is a shortcut when dealing with base 10 numbers and percents. So let's just jump in. Today's assignment is a worksheet. As always, use the PDF worksheet and put your answers on the answer key. All right, so a quick reminder of what base 10 numbers are. And these are numbers that are made up of ones and zeros, like 10, 100, 1,000, or 10,000. And for the sake of today, we're also going to throw in the number 1. So again, base 10, 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000. It's numbers made up of ones and zeros. And the assignment today is all about finding part when you have 1%, 10%, or 100%. So it's all about finding part. So if you remember how to use your triangle, cover up what you're looking for. And on today's assignment, you're going to be multiplying. It's whole times percent. And in all the cases today, this is a trick when your percent is 1%, 10%, or 100%. And again, we're looking for part in every question today. So the questions would look something like this. 10% of 50 is what? 1% of 50 is what? And 100% of 50 is what? And I'm going to walk through each one of these, 100, 10, and then 1, and show you a little bit of a trick. We'll start with the easiest one, which is the 100% trick. Percents are always out of 100, so 100% just means all of something. So if you get a question that says, what's 100% of 75? The answer is 75. And it's just like being asked, what's all of 75? 75. So the 100% trick is really easy. If you're asked what's 100% of a number, it's just that number. So if the question says, what's 100% of 1,043? The answer is 1,043. That's the easiest trick. All right, another trick is the 10% trick. And I want to point out what I've put here as a note. When you multiply by 10%, which is 0.10, you're not changing any numbers. So I'm going to do an example of what's 10% of 57. And this is how I'd set it up. Again, this is all part, so it's all multiplication. But 57 times 0.10. 0 times 7 is 0. 0 times 5 is 0. I don't change any of the numbers here. Drop my 0. 1 times 7 is 7. 1 times 5 is 5. I'm not changing any numbers. My answers are still going to be a 5 and a 7. All that I'm really doing, because it's multiplication with decimals, I'm counting there's two numbers behind decimals. You'll notice the pattern is that when you find 10% of something, you're just moving a decimal over one place to the left. You're just moving a decimal one place. So 10% of 57 is 5.7. Let's practice that again. So what's 10% of 96? And remember, when you find 10% of something, you're just moving the decimal one place to the left. And if it looks like 96 doesn't have a decimal, well, that's because we don't write them on whole numbers, but they're always there. So you could think of it like this, 96 point. And we're just going to move that decimal one place to the left. Here's the math on that. All we're doing by multiplying by 0.10 is moving the decimal one place to the left. So the answer is 9.6. That's the 10% trick. You just move the decimal 1 point to the left. If there's no decimal, you know it would be at the end of the number. Let's try one more. What's 10% of 12.34? Again, we're just going to move the decimal one place to the left. So 1.234. With the 10% trick, you just move the decimal one place to the left. What's 10% of 425? Remember, the decimal is imaginary, but it's there. It's right after the 5. So it'd be 42.5. With 10%, you move the decimal one place to the left. All right, and the last trick is the 1% trick. When you multiply by 1, you're not going to change any of these digits. All you're doing is moving decimals. When you multiply by 0.01, you're just moving decimals. So here's the math on it. 57, to find 1%, I times by 0.01. 1 times 7 is 7, 1 times 5 is 5, and I got a row of zeros. My answer is still 5 and 7, but because there's 2 numbers behind decimals, move it 2 to the left, and you'll notice the trick is that you're just moving the decimal 2 places. When you multiply by 1%, you're just moving the decimal 2 places. So what's 1% of 62? Again, if there's no decimal written, it's actually after the number. So we can imagine a decimal here. And now we're going to move it 2 places to the left. So 1% of 62 is 0.62. Let's do a couple of these. What's 1% of 573.21? Move your decimal 2 places to the left. 5.7321. And this should say places, not place. What's 1% of 638? Imagine a decimal after that 8. Move it 2 to the left. 6.38. So we're going to do some practice problems to end out the video. Let's see if you're getting it. As always, I'll post the problem. You can pause before I put up the answer, but I'm going to go fairly quick. What's 100% of 43? 43. What's 10% of 77? 7.7. You move the decimal 1 place to the left. What's 1% of 576? 5.76. So notice, with 100%, it's the same number. With 10%, you just move the decimal 1 place to the left. And with 1%, you move the decimal 2 places to the left. What's 1% of 12.35? 0.1235. We move the decimal 2 to the left. What's 10% of 82.3? Move that decimal 1 time. 8.23. And what's 100% of 0.23? 0.23. What's 10% of 543? 54.3. What's 100% of 7? 7. And what's 1% of 112.3? 1.123. All right, guys, hopefully that makes sense. As always, you can email me. Don't forget, today's assignment is a worksheet. Put your answers on the answer key, and 6th graders, hopefully once you get this trick, you'll find it pretty easy. As always, guys, thanks for watching the video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.